is a turning
message here for everybody. There really, this is not an accident. For me, I mean, no accident. And that is it for this special edition of the O'Reilly Factor. We hope you have added to your knowledge of the Pope by our reporting. And as always, we thank you for watching. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Please stay tuned for Fox News coverage continuing of Pope John Paul II. Good evening.
This is Fox News' continuing special coverage of Pope John Paul II and his battle for life. I'm Chris Wallace reporting from Washington. You're looking at a live shot of St. Peter's Square in Vatican City, where it is now 4 a.m. Saturday morning. Throughout the day, tens of thousands gathered to pray for the Pope. Some of those people are still there, waiting for any news about John Paul. For the very latest on the Pope's condition, let's call in Rick Leventhal near St. Peter's. Rick, what's the latest?
Well, Chris, we're outside Castle Sant'Angelo. St. Peter's Square is just behind me. Obviously, the numbers have dwindled there from earlier when there were some 70,000 people. The news on the Pope's condition has not improved. At last report, he was still in very grave condition, near death, with problems with his heart and his kidneys, difficulty breathing, and also a dangerously low blood pressure. But we have not had an update on the Pope's condition from the Vatican in several hours now. Again, at this late hour, after 4 a.m. local time, we still have a couple of thousand people, faithful in St. Peter's Square, who are holding candles. They are saying prayers. They're singing, and there are many of them staring up at the Pope's third-floor residence, where two windows are lit, but the Pope's bedroom window is not, and many are taking that as a sign. The crowd, very young here at St. Peter's Square, and very dedicated, obviously, showing their support for the Pope, Pope John Paul II, who has led the third longest papal reign in the history of the Catholic Church, some 26 years now, beginning back on October 16th, 1978, leading the world's 1.1 billion Roman Catholics. He's traveled almost 1 million miles, Chris, 775,000 miles, by far the most traveled Pope, visiting 129 countries and territories, reading more than 10,000 addresses, holding more than 1,160 general audiences here at the Vatican alone. Those attended by some 17 million people. People that I spoke with here tonight say they have a lot of respect for the Pope and the way that he has put a personal face on religion. There have been special masses here in Rome and certainly around the world as well, and they are celebrating the Pope for transforming the Church, for his strength and his determination, as you know, surviving an assassin's bullet and a series of other health problems over the years. The crowds, again, have dwindled here, Chris, but they are remaining faithful and strong, and the vigil is expected to continue through the night and into tomorrow, when a huge number of faithful are expected to descend on the Vatican to continue to show their support for Pope John Paul II. Chris?
Rick Leventhal outside St. Peter's. Rick, thanks. Joining us now for more on today's events is Dr. Margaret Malady. She is the former president of the American University in Rome and joins us now from New York. And Dr. Malady, welcome.
Thank you.
There has been so much going on at the Vatican today. As someone who knows that institution and that building so well, give us some sense of what you think is going on behind the scenes there tonight.
Well, I think there's a great deal of sadness because the people who have worked with him, so close with him, see that he is leaving us, of course, to go to a better life. But still, all in all, it means separation from him. And this papacy has been such an extraordinary papacy. And to know that that's coming to an end must be very difficult for the people that have been working with him.
Who are the 2 or 3 key figures in the Vatican right now, and what do you think they are focusing on?
Well, I think, of course, his longtime secretary, Archbishop Dziwisz, who has been with him for so long in Poland and in here. He must be just focusing really on the Pope and to be with him at his side. I think that that's probably what he's thinking about. The Pope, of course, was with the Pope in Poland, a Pope that I think has been such a wonderful communicator for this world on religion, on morality. He has been the storyteller Even in Poland, he knew that the communist world would not let him talk directly about religion. And so he sought other means. He sought a means of, for example, he wrote a play. He was symbol. He used to use symbols so very well to try to tell the people about what he wanted to tell them about religion and about spirituality, about the sacred. And he took that ability into his papacy, and he became a wonderful communicator to the world. I remember so many times that we met him, and the other aspect I think that came across to me was that he was also a very human person, one who would laugh and joke, and yet be such a very wonderful spiritual person. I remember one time we took, my husband was the former ambassador to the Vatican at the time, and I was there under those circumstances, and we took President Reagan there. And Reagan came out with the Pope, and the Pope came and saw us, and I said to the Pope, I said, we just came back from your town where you were born in Poland, and it's a museum now. And he laughed and he joked and he said, oh, isn't this so funny that it's now a museum? And he's just such a human person.
Many of our guests have spent time with Pope John Paul, and I'm going to ask you a question which I'm going to ask all of them tonight. Is there a single moment, is there a single impression that stands out for you in your experience with this extraordinary man?
Yes. I remember that my husband and I were invited to say goodbye to him when my husband was leaving his post as ambassador, and we both went in. And at that time, I was working on a book about him and about his travels. And I thought this was a great privilege for me to be able to sit down and talk with him. But I didn't really realize what was going to happen. I thought it would be a very formal occasion. And yet, he took us into his office, and he sat us down at his desk. And there were just the three of us. And we sat and talked with him. He was such a spiritual person, but he was also a very intellectually curious person, and so he always had lots of questions. And we just sat there at his desk talking about all sorts of issues in the world, about his papacy, and it was a wonderful opportunity for me to see someone whom you would think there are so many, it's just a formal occasion, but yet he took the time to just speak to us as individual people, curious about him, curious about the Catholic Church. It was a wonderful occasion that I'll always remember.
And Dr. Milady, when he talked about issues, was it always from a spiritual standpoint, or could he discuss political issues in a sophisticated way? Oh, yeah, he certainly could discuss political issues, and certainly there were many times, even in informal occasions. Sometimes we had an opportunity to be with him, for example, at an occasion where he was an art exhibit he was opening, and he would motion to my husband to come over, and he would talk about to my husband directly about political issues. So yes, there were times when he would definitely focus on those. And when you say political issues, I mean, he would be talking about what was going on in a certain part of the world, or, for instance, what was going on with the administration back in the United States?
Yes, of course, because during my husband's time there was when the first Iraq War occurred. And, of course, he took a very strong stand about no war, no war. And he would make sure that that was communicated to my husband and to the president.
Well, Dr. Milady, first of all, you had some extraordinary experiences, and we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing your sense of what goes on behind the scenes in the Pentagon and some very private, special moments you had with this extraordinary man. Thank you. We'll continue our special coverage with Reverend Pat Robertson coming up after the break. And still to come tonight, we'll remember the legacy of Pope John Paul II, and we'll give you a detailed explanation of what happens next, right down to possible successors. Stay tuned.
Learn more about spiders at spr.com.